Welcome to Dairy One. Dairy One is a farmer-owned cooperative providing management and analytical services to agriculture in the northeastern United States. One of our services is called plant tissue analysis. Plant tissue analysis is used to determine nutrients deficiencies or excesses in plants themselves. The first step of the process is gathering a representative sample. Getting a good sample is the critical part of the whole analysis. One thing we look for is we want it to be representative, and it needs to be large enough for us to actually analyze. Some people feel if they send us 5 to 8 petioles, that's going to be enough. You have to remember that the plant tissue itself is about 80% moisture, and it's the dried ground sample that we actually analyze. So once that 50 grams is dried, we're left with about 10 grams of material. This is what it's looked like after it's dried and ground. So there's really not that much sample left over. So it's very important to have a representative sample, and along with that, complete paperwork. Upon arrival, the first thing we do is we dry the sample. The sample is going to be dried at 60 degrees centigrade for about 4 hours or until dry. Subsequent to that, they're ground, and we showed you the ground sample. And then it's going to go up to the lab for nitrogen and elemental analysis. Nitrogen analysis is determined by the combustion method. The portion of the sample is weighed, introduced to the instrument. The sample is then combusted or burned, and the nitrogen gas collected, and the nitrogen content determined from there. The second half of the analysis is the elemental analysis. We're looking at the calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, potassium, sodium, iron, zinc, copper, and manganese. And this is done by inductively coupled plasma spectroscopy, otherwise known as ICP. In the ICP process, first thing we do is we digest the sample in a combination of nitric and hydrochloric acid. It's then placed into a high-tech microwave oven where the sample is completely digested. All the organic components are burnt off, leaving the elements behind. The elements are then drawn into the ICP to determine the concentration, and that's done by measuring light. The ICP kind of acts like a big prism, if you want to think about it that way. Each element gives off light at a different wavelength, or if you want to think about it, at a different color. And by analyzing the intensity of the light at the different wavelengths, we can determine the elemental concentration. Once the analysis is completed, the recommendations are done through a joint effort with AgriOne, our agronomic services here at Dairy One, and Cornell University. The samples are analyzed here at AgriOne. The results are then sent over to Cornell, where it's run through the recommendation engine, and the final report is generated.